Today, my name is Peter Wakaben. Before we take that short break, just to bring you up to speed on what has happened so far, the fact that Charles Njagua, is known as Jagua, has been declared the winner of the party primary for the Jubilee Party for the Starehe seat. We just very recently, a few minutes ago, saw the triumphant exit of him and his convoy from the Jubilee Party headquarters on Pangani Road here, on Thika Road rather, here in Nairobi. And the fact that that does have a lot of bearing on what is going to happen in that poll, of course, what that means for his opponent, Maina Commander, and what that means for the, well, youth of that constituency. And that brings me back to the interview that we had to cut short because of that clip right there. And my colleague Paul Wafula, my guest, is still here. And Wafula, you've seen that very colorful exit right there. And we were at the point of questioning whether these youthful politicians have been able to literally bring to bear policies that will change the youth of the places where they are. Are we going to see the same thing happening over and over again?
I mean, it's a fact that the older generation is a little bit out of touch with really what is happening in terms of the real needs of the youth. And you'll expect that Jaguar, Steve Mbogos, and the youthful politicians that we are seeing even counties where governors are going to be very young. And that's really good. Even Nairobi, we're seeing very, very young politicians being brought on the table. Now, the question will be if they are going to really have to combine the youthfulness and be able to come up with policies that actually can help the youth. And remember, the work of a legislator, apart from the CDF that they have been holding on for a long time, is actually to come up with laws to actually change the lives of people. So dishing out some CDF money to a few schools to build a classroom here and there might not be long term. It will still be the same narrative. But we need youthful leaders who will come up with actual policies and push government to implement them so that at the end of the day, their constituents don't suffer. So I mean, at a level of a legislator, it's not about just the CDF bit. It should actually have policies. They know where the problem is, the issues. How do you come up with a solution to all these problems?
Do you think they bring innovation and literally understanding of the issues to the table? The fact of the matter is, today, a lot of the things that are going on mean that we have funds, but these are sitting in banks. We have, for example, the various funds that we have, be it the enterprise fund, youth enterprise fund, women's fund, all those things. Some are going out through banks, some are going out through government. A lot of this hasn't been taken up in a really big way, either because of people not meeting the criteria, bureaucracy, and various other factors. How do we then help people like this to start to catalyze the uptake of these funds?
I mean, if you look at, for instance, if we just to take the present example of Jaguar, where he sits, he has a lot of public influence in terms of his music, what he's able to do. He's met people, he's always out at night, he knows the problems of the youth, he knows really what the current Nairobi youth is going through. So with that kind of experience, he can be able to go and say, look, guys, we have ways of fund, but this is the reason why people are not accessing it. Because you have this money sitting pretty in some bank, maybe the youth fund, you're giving some money to some bank to distribute to the people, but the way it is, the window is so closed that many people cannot get in. So with that, you can be able to come and say, look, if I was a musician, I cannot be able to get money to be able to fund my music because these are the restrictions. If I'm doing a small business in Pangani, for instance, this is how I can be able to get this money. So you can be able to remove, I mean, the unnecessary roadblocks to this money that can actually trickle down to people.
So my final question to you is simple. With this transition that we're looking at towards the August the 8th, what in your opinion is the single largest thing that either the new leaders have to get out of the way, the things they have to really change so that Kenyans can really start to aspire towards a new and greater future?
I mean, Peter, there's one thing that people don't talk about in this country, but it's just unemployment. I mean, it's become such an obvious problem that it's now people are comfortable that we are just unemployed and that's it. But if you can find a government that can actually tackle the unemployment issues in the country, then we want to even be talking about all the other issues that are coming up and dealing with us in terms of drugs. We want to be talking about, because we are taking people to school. Look at Kibaki, brought us free primary education. Now we have free secondary education that's almost subsidized. And universities, we have help. So in terms of education, someone can actually go through the education system very comfortably to the end if they're actually good performers. And then what happens after they are done with that? So we need to really
real food for thought right there.
For that,
Well, indeed, thank you very much. Paul Wafula, right at the Standard, the political, economic pundit and observer. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us here.